afternoon, viewers. We welcome you on the continuation of our talks on the ongoing testimony of Sana Sabali.
Wow.
Understand? We've listened to his testimony, and I believe that was the part that most people were waiting for, which until the mostly the November 11 incident.
Exactly. It's just interesting. I mean, like we said earlier, I mean, Sana Sabali, as we were anticipating that he's going to be cooperative, it's like I mean, fully, on the line as far as the, objectives of the TRRC is concerned. And, we've seen something very, very interesting again. I mean, where he has been, I mean, being remorseful, I can say, I mean, and where he's seeking for, I mean, forgiveness. But we've seen where a lady, was also, being brought forth to, to give Sana Sabali, I mean, the opportunity to apologize. But we've seen it's like giving conditions before she can, I mean, actually forgive Sana Sabali. But we've seen from a lot of comments in that the the Gambian dimension of how we treat each other as as Gambians, because on the lady saying I mean she shouldn't prioritize money as far as the objective and the reconciliation I mean objective that they have in place. And this lady, as we all know, is the lady that alleged that Sana Sabal is Sana Sabal and his
Convoy.
security convoy guards exactly shot her during those days. But it's just
Yes, it actually believe that she shouldn't have made openly made the request on air like that. Some others actually believe that nobody should condemn her for it. So it's very complicated.
Yeah, and here again on the comment, some are saying I mean she is money oriented, but I mean, based on I mean the recent unfoldings, as far as I mean, some we've seen some victims that are benefit. I mean,
Have been what has driven her to
yeah, points to say that based on that, he's also trying to
been a bit of a confliction compared to his early statement, which Council File has actually pinned out testimonies of his past early, saying that some of the inmates at Mile 2 were actually dragged on their way from one particular cell to another, which Sana Sabali actually denies, saying that the beating was carried out when they were actually in a cell.
yeah, we've seen that point, and again we've seen where the witnesses have said I mean said the security detainees and fired so, and before leaving he also gave a warning that we are going but tomorrow we are coming for you people, and we also understand that they've been like that for over 45 days, and then with that
it was the response.
Yeah, it is like, at that time, they were not really following the due process as far as, I mean, military operations action about war. There are rules, that accompany these activities, like we see, the Geneva Convention about he made it clear that, I mean, at the time they were not even
The military then,
Mhm.
it's like they were not really informed about some of these things. I much knowledge about the Geneva Convention. All they went by was their military terms, their military training. So they knew less about some of these outside conventions and resolutions and all.
Yeah, because looking at the situation, but to check it properly, we've seen that most of them have gone over, to outside countries, more advanced countries, to take up military trainings. I mean, even Sana himself, we've seen that, at one point he left the country, I mean, for studies. And then we have so many other, military. Even Yahya Jammeh, the chairman himself, has left the country on occasions to go and, study and for capacity building. So this Geneva Convention, I know, like we cannot
So would
just.
you say they just decided to give a deaf ear to all these
Yeah,
conventions?
obviously, and we've just seen that from the testimony of Sana Sabali. But I believe the mindset, at the time, was the main thing, driving their actions, because Sana was like, he is like, I mean, they are our enemies, so we were treating them like enemies. That is, in the initial point, they plan to execute the council members, and based on that, they are also going to reciprocate. That is to also, I mean, kill them. So, which is a very, very, very awkward, thing to have at the time, from our own military, I mean, shut up.
In as much as he has tried to accept that he has actually participated in a lot of violations with regards to human rights, if you follow it well, it's like he was trying to base everything on one thing.
Yeah, but I just want to drag you back to, I mean, the to about, it's like we have Sajo Sambu, our reporter, who is down there at the TRRC. Yes, Sajo.
Good afternoon to you too.
Yes, can you just put us through, I mean, the main
Yes, Alasan, as I said earlier, around 1 to 2 p.m. in the afternoon, that the former vice president of the EPRC government, Sana Sabali, who came to testify, the TRRC today came overwhelmingly and unexpectedly in a black Range car with escort with some officials alongside the car. This, you can remember that Sana was the vice president of the AFPRC regime from July 22nd, 1994 towards early 1995, around 25th, 27th January, before he fall out with the government. Today, here, he came to testify with this TRRC. But what happened after the first break, that in the morning and the afternoon, we had him again from the hours of 2:30 p.m. to this current hour. Sana just left the hall now, and then expected to be back here tomorrow. But here in Sana has taken full responsibility. I guess it was to the surprise of anybody watching live or watching it on TV or listening to radio, that Sana would acknowledge boldly his decisions and taking responsibility of what might have went wrong during his tenure as the vice president of the APRC region.
Well, we've seen, I mean, during the process of the testimony, we've seen a victim who was given, I mean, the opportunity to have some, I mean, words as far as Sana Sabali's apology is concerned. And then we also understand there are other victims and victims family members or loved ones that were there. Can you tell us, the reaction, plainly on the side of the victims or the victims' loved ones at the TRRC today?
Alasan, do you want to know my own perspective about the victim lady who's Yasana apologized inside the hall? Well, okay, I would, people were in fact laughing when she made her demands. When Sana apologized to her that he was not aware of the incident that might have fought her. According to her, the Sana convoy was trying, they were shooting at the car, and then I think the bullet had hit the car and then eventually ended up on her right arm, which she said cost her a lot. And then the family, especially her uncle, did lost so much of wealth in that, in the treating her. But you looked at it in another angle. She is demanding $1 million for compensation before she forgives Sana. So in among the midst of people who were sitting there, even describing her as a fortune seeker. It's really he was bold enough to apologize to all the victims, and he said whether you are home in the Gambia here or abroad or residing somewhere, he is seeking for forgiveness. And to the utmost surprise that he has reconciled with Chongan since in Germany, even before coming to Senegal. So you can see Sana has been trying to work on. Sana has tried to work on his part of creating the wrongs he did in the earlier stage. Are you
Yes.
getting me?
Yes. You are very clear. You are very clear here.
Yes, and then sometime back here there were witnesses also that said former Army Chief of Command Babukar Jata was part of the killings, and Sana said Babukar came only on the ground at the camp to secure his life, as he was part of the people to be executed when Barrow and the coup have to succeed, because he was part of the name. His name was part of the names listed on that book. So he said he called Babukar Jata to come over as to secure his life. Babukar went to the shooting ground, but he was never even knew that Babukar was even having a pistol. So in order to clear that and give Babukar the clear concept and in line with his testimony that Babukar was not even part of the killings at the Nyamai forest. But Sana again said he called Jame to tell him that we have captured Yundum Barak and Fajara Barak, and the leaders of the ring who are Basiru Baro and Dotfal are all being consented that they should be killed. So this happened. He made the first firing before the other firing came. That take out the head of the snake, and then the body will be useless. That's what they did, killing the ringleaders. That's Dotfal and Basiruba. Before a couple of days later, to take the rest of the six people to the Nyambai forest, where they were shot in a short blank range.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Chayo. Fatimata is very interesting anyway.
Yeah. Just to get back to where he talked about the lady receiving the money, many actually believe that even though even though she had every right to ask for favors from Sana
It was,
Sabali, she
yeah.
shouldn't have done it directly. Instead, she could have
a set of protocols. you know show his dissatisfaction, of hearing Sana Sabali talking about the, Geneva Convention. I mean, kind of,
Belittling it.
belittling it, and that is something that he's not, he didn't go well with that in any way.
Yeah, Sana might seem to be belittling the Geneva Convention, but it is something very substantial, and it is something that most nations go by. So for him to actually sit on a platform and say it is nothing, doesn't sound right.
Yeah, but his question of whether it is happening anywhere in the world, I mean, it's just flopping, I can say, because we've seen so many places where, I mean, many protocols are not being observed. I mean, and as he was trying to substantiate, I mean, he would say this was a matter of death or life. You either kill or be killed. So in that case, there are many things that you would not easily consider as far as your activities
I
are,
understand he was
concerned.
trying to base everything on military terms, but then it still doesn't make it right. So far as we are concerned, there's still a law, that oversees everything. Whether it is the military, killing a person, to be honest, is not something that you can actually justify by just basing it on some military terms.
Yeah, the reiteration of the lead counsel, Isafal, another important point. I mean, as he would say, he always like to reiterate on that. And I think Sana is just setting, the right precedent as far as the TRRC is concerned, because we've seen another witness who also played a very great role. That is Alaji Kanyi. I mean, the first witness to come forward and then, at least give a good amount of, truth as far as the TRRC is concerned. That is accepting atrocities that he has committed on people, and then the first witness to say he actually, I mean, who actually took part in killing of some of the Gambian brothers. So that set a good precedent, and then we've seen that subsequent witnesses were coming, and some were also giving good amount of truth. But in this case, we have Sana Sabali, who is nothing but one of the main the pioneers, I can say. He's part of the council members, and then he has come, voluntarily at the TRRC to say that, to accept, I can say, because looking at the testimony today, almost, if not all, but he has given a good amount of, I mean,
But he has
confession. Yeah,
accepted part of what is most important.
obviously, yeah.
We have somebody joining us on the line, Lamin Tamba, calling from UK to give us an overview of the whole test. Good afternoon,
Hello.
Mr. Tamba.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. What's your overview of this whole Sana Sabali's testimony? What's your view of it?
Well, my view is first and foremost, I'm glad that he honored the invitation to come and clarify some of the myths, the stories, the theories, and all commentary that was taking place since the TRRC started. And I'm glad he came because that shows, number one, that the man has got guts. He wasn't going to run away. He wasn't a quitter. And as far as the TRC is concerned, he's respected it, he's turned up, and he's answering questions to his best recollection of what happened. And the important thing is, everyone thought the guy was a monster because of what we heard. People like me, I was little when they were there, the army. So we thought this guy was like a myth, he was like a monster, he's a mystery figure. So to see him sit there and humble himself and answer questions to his best recollection, even better when he lowered himself to the people he asked people are telling the truth, the absolute truth. Some people are telling the truth, but adding stuff in there. Some people have lied, according to the TRRC or the Attorney General's office. So I'm glad that he came in the first place, and I'm hoping he'll tell us exactly the way things were, so that Gambians can benefit from it, so that some of these things can be closed, so we get a real image of what it actually is, rather than people guessing and people making up their own stories, people sourcing stuff, and he's making his council members too look human, and then clarifying certain things that we used to hear about council members, about Yaya Jammeh, about Elron Singate, about Yankuba Ture and Sadibu Haider and all whatnot. So it's good. As far as I'm concerned, it's brilliant. He's had a blinding testimony. I really like the way it went today.
Well, were you surprised with any conflicting issue? I mean, as far as the testimony is concerned today.
I'm not surprised, because most of these stories we've already heard. They've been repeated time and time again. The only thing I was surprised with I was surprised that by the time they took over the country, they didn't have any leader in mind. They had to decide the leader at the 11th hour after they've captured the State House, which was a bit puzzling. Naturally, in a group of people, you have somebody leading anyway. So maybe during the plot and everything, somebody was leading. But to think that we don't know who we're going to make chairman until we've already succeeded was a dangerous act. The execution of the coup itself was dangerous. But to go not knowing who's going to take over, who's going to be in charge, is dangerous. They could have just eliminated each other there on the fight for who's going to be chairman, who's not going to be chairman. Yeah. So, but that's the only. Well, I'll eat in a minute. That's the only surprising bit. That's the only stuff. But the rest of the stuff, I've personally heard most of what he said today. It's been repeated many times before. Some of the stuff he said he wasn't aware or he wasn't there, like the shooting of taxi drivers or people who couldn't leave the road quickly enough for his convoy. He clarified that most of the shootings weren't him. Maybe his orderlies done it. Maybe he wasn't even aware they were doing these things. You know how it goes. Once some people know their name is connected with the president or the chairman or the number 2 in the government, sometimes they of that. So sometimes some of these things happen just off the cuff like that without being ordered. I know soldiers were exuberant when they took over newly. They fired at will sometimes. You know, so you know, the one that will surprise me a lot is that 11/11. I want clarifications as to what actually happened, because people say he fired the shots. Some people say he didn't. Some people said there was a firefight. Some people said there wasn't a firefight. So I'm waiting for tomorrow's testimony, basically, to conclude. We've had a little bit of it today. We want to see what it is by the end of the day tomorrow.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate having you today.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tamba. Well, he raised a very important point, which is the issue of them not deciding on who would actually have been the chairman of the council before reaching the State House. Well, I guess we could relate that to Sana's statement of the fact that their main purpose was to eliminate the past regime due to their nepotism, corruption allegations. I think that and that they didn't plan to stay long in power. Perhaps that could have been the reason they did not select a chairman prior to they reached their actual destination.
Exactly, and he mentioned something that is very important. That is, you know, I mean, he just highlighted the point where Shana Shabali, where you know they have, you know, certain people, certain prominent people, that is, if they know like you are connected with someone, you know, they will use that influence to do things that one would not like where the prominent person himself would not be, you know, like who would not be at the place at the time the action was being taken done, I can say.
Well, as an all being said, I believe we are all anticipating for tomorrow the continuation of his testimony, which will be tomorrow. There will be hearing a lot of revelations as well. But for now, this is all we have for you. Join us tomorrow for the continuation of our discussion on Sana Sabali's testimony. Thank you very much.